Hello Big Brother fans, review of episode 7. How exciting. The most exciting episode of Big Brother, I think, seriously, ever. At least in my humble opinion. Well, since I've done it in the past, let me please address Julie Chen's outfit and hair. It wasn't happening for me. What about you guys? We open with the POV replacement nominations, and the house starts beginning its little chatter. Helen didn't trust Spencer from the get-go, and she was talking to Alyssa and Candace about it, and then she decides that she's going to talk to Andy, and she flips him and gets him on board onto the girl train. And she said, he says that he's worried about his well-being, but she says, you know what, they're always ever going to be on Alyssa's, case. So as long as Alyssa's here, you're off their radar. So he agrees with that, and so he's solidified, he's on board with them. Then Alyssa realizes that she needs to get Jesse on board. So she spent the other night with her in bed chatting, and she got Helen then to work on Jesse, and then they flipped Jesse's vote. So we've already got two people that used to be against them on board. Well, for Howard, he's a tricky guy. I think, in my opinion, even though I'm listening to the feeds right now, they say that he threw the vote just to shed light on Jessie and make her look guilty, not trust her, etc., etc. Sorry, that was a spoiler a little bit. Because something that he says here, he says, as far as the moving company goes, Amanda is the only hiccup to it. Then Nick said that he didn't want to make any waves by going in and dealing with any of that because he didn't want the Guy Alliance to be exposed. Well, guess what? Couple days too late, Nick. Sorry. Julie comes back and we talk to the house guests, and she talks about showmances. She says there's a lot of showmances on this year, and there are some who want to be in a showmance. And so she talked with Jessie and wanted to know what it was that why does she want a showmance? And she says it was more wanting a companion, someone to be with, and blah blah blah. And Julie says, well, you can have a companion in there without a romance, So busted. We know you wanted to get you some. Boom chicka bow wow. And she spoke about cameras, and did you do you at some point forget that they're actually running 24/7? And she spoke first to Amanda, who said that while you most times realize that they're there are times that you forget, and you're just hanging with your friends and you forget that they're there. And then she switches over and asks Aaron the same question, and Aaron says, well, I'm always aware that they're going, but I'm always me, I'm always open, I always say what I feel, etc., etc. And she says, so that way you know me. And Julie says, well, yes, we do. And we kind of cut. And we go to CBS addressing the derogatory racist remarks made by Aaron. And they did a couple of clips. And I'm really hoping that they're not going to make Aaron the fall guy in this, because while some of the things that she says they are insensitive, and you got to see some of it tonight, there are other things that Gina Marie has said, and reportedly Spencer, I haven't heard anything that he said, but the things that Gina Marie has said have been, in my opinion, much worse than the things that Aaron has said. So I'm really hoping that they get a little bit further into this, but I think that now that it's been addressed, I think they're going to try to let it go away, which is sad. But I have a feeling they felt that they needed to address it because it has gotten quite a bit of coverage in the news worldwide. So one night, everybody's sitting around by the pool in the backyard, and they start talking about the comments that they've overheard. And Amanda, having heard this, decides she's going to be the spokesperson for the house and go up and just kind of warn her to be a little more aware of the things she does and she says. And Erin just, nothing. It was nothing to her. She didn't find it concerning at all. She thought it was childish and the craziest thing she's ever heard, etc., etc. And Amanda says apparently the kid has no remorse. So, really, what are you going to do when someone is, that, I mean, I don't want to say ignorant, but ignorant, if the shoe fits, that they can't stop and see and, self-assess. You know what I mean? For me, it seemed like this episode really went quickly. It was very exciting, though. So we go straight to the live vote, and each person got to say something, and Alyssa, hers kind of, it was weird and it didn't make sense. And then Nick's didn't make any sense whatsoever, and Helen, made sense, fairly made sense with their little speeches. And then we had the vote. And so we have Jeremy, who voted out Alyssa, Caitlin, who voted out Alyssa, Andy flipped and voted out Nick, Gina Marie stuck with her alliance and voted out Alyssa, Judd flipped and went with Nick, Spencer, the moving company people, flipped Nick, Jessie, they flipped her, Nick, Howard went with Alyssa. They say they're thinking it's just to shed light and make them wonder about Jessie. I think it's just him wanting to be true to his crew. McCrae, Amanda, and Candace all voted out Nick. And Nick was gone. And there was quite a bit of boo-hooing. I've done some screen captures. If I have the time and I'm going to melt them together, I'll put some screen caps on there. Gina Marie at this very moment, and let's see, that was 3 hours ago, is still boo-hooing. Yeah. She just came in and did a real prolonged speech that, yeah. Anyway, so Nick is out, and we have him immediately guessing that Spencer was probably the one who turned on me. And Julie, said, yeah, you're right. It was him. But he did state that Spencer was the one that he trusted the most. And she asked why did she think it was him? He said because Spencer is the one that everybody trusted, and that he was pretty much the one that ran the house, which to me was kind of weird. So she just, said, yeah, you're right in your suspicions. He also called McCrae as flipping on him, and she said, well, you're on your way home, you're not going to the jury, so I can tell you are, that he did vote you out. So we know that they're not keeping at least the first 2 weeks of people in separate, keeping them sequestered, like they did 1 year, because they brought someone back. I can't remember what episode it was, but they did bring someone back. Or they gave an option of having someone come back into the house. I can't remember everything. Messages. They had McCrae, Jeremy, Alyssa, Helen, and of course Gina Marie giving their messages to him. The HOH competition. Last night they were awakened, I think, almost pretty much on the hour, and they were allowed out into the backyard, and they were presented with the scene that we saw on tonight's episode, and they had to remember things. And things changed, like different colored shirts, different kinds of suitcases, etc., etc. So they were memorizing everything. I think they woke up a total of 5 times for 5 different scenes. So it was like, in the first scene, the time, they were given this amount of time for a break, and there were this many suitcases, and the color of the t-shirts were this color. I mean, it was amazing, the things that they were able to remember. So they just did a true-false, and which was I think which was a really good competition for that amount of people. The first round immediately took out Jeremy and Judd. The second round took out Gina Marie, Andy, Amanda, Spencer, and Alyssa. The third round took out Candace, which I'm really surprised with because she has an amazing memory. The thing is that sometimes the questions are worded in a way where it really makes you think. And if you're in a, hurry up and, make a decision, hurry, we need an answer kind of thing, it makes you scramble and get it, So she was out in the third round. Fourth, fifth, sixth round, nothing. No one got out. So they decided to go to the tiebreaker round, and they said, it's going to be a number. The closest to the number wins. If you go over, then the one who comes closest to the actual number would win. Pretty much all but McCrae said 168, and he said 169, so McCrae was out. They go to a second tiebreaker, which was how many time, the total time in seconds it took Jeremy to win the in the balance competition. Veto, I think they said it was 895 seconds, and Helen wins. And I have to say, I kind of hooted and hollered. I was really happy that that she won, because I've been watching the people in the house, and she's the one that strikes me as the person that makes the most sense. Amanda makes sense, but there's something about Amanda, I'm not quite sure. She just kind of flips to too many people, too many hands and too many pies. And whereas Helen has stayed true and has just, stuck to her own people for her own reasons, and I enjoy that about her. There was no talk about have-nots on this episode and the food that we've chosen or whatnot, so my guess is there's going to be a food competition, and it's not going to be put into Helen's hand to choose, which I actually quite enjoy that fact, because then people can't blame her for being the reason. The only thing I don't enjoy is that if the people who have been on slop for 2 weeks in a row could possibly be put into a group that ends up for another week on slop, which means, but anyway, that's that with that. It was probably the best episode yet. I'll see you guys on Sunday.